Can you actually make it if you just keep helping others, but you don't help yourself? Gotta learn to disappoint others. People will not get it, and you might be hated for it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To be highly productive, my brothers, you gotta decide to focus. If you try and put all your energy into 20 different things, there's always going to be someone who's putting more energy into one of those. And then when you think about how much you're doing, if you're doing less than 5, you're probably too focused. And that can be dangerous. As well as if you have too many, then you have to be really careful about how much distribution of your time and energy you put into those things. But with that being said, I'm your brother Abu Aisha, here to teach the Muslim dad about honing their minds and being focused on what really matters, inshallah ta'ala. I wanted to share with you guys a quote that I hold dear to myself, and that has allowed me to break through my limits once I understood it. And I'll share that with you guys, that your job throughout this entire life is to disappoint as many people as it takes to avoid disappointing yourself. SubhanAllah. Take a second to think about that. This took me a decade to master, and its reflection, as quoted, our job throughout this entire life is to disappoint as many of other people as necessary, so we do not end up disappointing ourselves in our own life. Now, I find this a chilling reflection, to be fair, because we often neglect to look into ourselves and ponder. As a father, I find I can often fall into the trap of where I can't validate my own plans, my projects inside myself. I used to seek out that validation and the approval of others, and saying yes to a lot of the things that do not align with what I know to be the important things in my life. And there's a story that comes with that, but one of the main ones that I came across was with Warren Buffett, where he had a pilot, I believe Steve was his name, and on his private jet. So he said to his pilot, "You've been with us for about 6 years," and he wanted to see him develop. So you see now, he told Steve, take some time and put on a sheet of paper the most 20 important things to himself, adventurous project that he would like to achieve. The most important 20 things, as they would say, in terms of put it like a bucket list, and he came back to him after a week or so to tell his boss, Warren, that these are the 20 things that have come up, and these are the things that I hold dear to myself. And, what do I do with it now? So his boss told him, right, step 2 now, he wanted Steve to actually identify the top 5 things from that list. And he told him, do not rush, but come up with the most important things from that list and make it the top 5. Don't have any confusion between the 5 and the rest. Just be concise and specific into it. And I'm paraphrasing there. Of course, I wasn't there in the story. The point of the paper is the point of the matter is, you can see that from what the story is being said there, it's that when he came back with the second sheet of paper, he really took the time and he really pondered upon what was there. And you can see it because it had coffee stains and markers and pens. And he finally, when Steve got the opportunity to speak to the boss again, and he told him, look, I've had the 20 list, I've ended up with the 5. And he says, this is what I'm going to do now. These are the 5s, what do you want me to do with it? So then Warren Buffett explained to him that you now clearly need to focus on these 5 things, these 5 important things, right? Forget the rest. So Steve was a bit confused. So he said to him, what about 6 up to 20? What do I do with those? He says, those ones you forget about it. You only focus on the main 5 things. Because what happens is, as Warren has explained to Steve, what happens if opportunity 7 comes in, opportunity 10 or opportunity 13 on your list? Steve was thinking, well, I'll work on it because it's part of the list, right? But then the boss, i.e. Warren, halted and said, you know what? Do not touch number 6 to 20. These are your never to touch list. And the reason you won't achieve your top 5 most important things on that list, it's not to do with the Instagram, it's not to do with the TikTok distraction per se. It is that reason 6 to 20 are dangerous within itself. What do I mean by that? Is that you're going to be easily distracted by those, and you are gonna make it justifiable and say to yourself that, you know what, you can easily tell yourself there's a reason why I'm doing it, rather than focusing on the main 5 things. And I think that this thought, when you really think about it, in order to really be focused, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. My brother, you have to be brutal to yourself and clarifying what really matters to you and what you're going to spend your time and energy and effort, and be very clear about it. That what you're allowing your time and energy to drift into other things, you need to reflect and say, no, this is the main 5 things I'm going to focus on. So now when I reflect and I look at the people that I've spoken to and the people I've met in the Muslim space, the successful people, alhamdulillah, may Allah bless them with more, and may Allah make the affairs of the Muslims easy. I've really learned that they are very focused in terms of the important projects they've already outlined, and they know what they need to do and what they need to focus on. They're not distracted with other activities that do not align with their projects, with their activities. So to conclude, this mind frame that we must learn to disappoint others, and that is disappointing through project 6 or to 20. So at the end of our life, we don't look back and feel regret. So I would say to you guys is reflect on this, bi'idhnillah, and decide to be highly productive onto these 5 things and leave the rest. And you just really got to focus, akhi. If it's less than 5, you're too focused. If it's more than 5, you got to be really careful about the distribution of your energy into those many different things. So a quick reflection here from your brother who's trying to help the fathers master their mindset, overcome those limiting beliefs, so that you can lead your families with confidence and purpose, inshallah ta'ala, of course, while staying grounded in Islamic values. So get to it, brothers. Go write down what's important, be clear on the focus, and make sure that those big things are on your agenda before you start drifting into the smaller things. And then all of a sudden, poof, the time is gone. And then you wonder what happened. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.